Got some food here. Come here. Okay. Red, you want some?
Medium, tight, wide. That's photography here.
There you go.
The
Come on.
the sound's been the script's not in there. I just kind of threw it in because it's kind of a decent sequence. Searching for eggs.
I pulled out a couple of normal eggs.
And then he's coming into frame. Sometimes you got one guy, the photographer who shot the dog story had that problem where the person you're shooting is in every single shot. So how do you cut? But how do you cut to the interview? How do you cut to this? Sometimes you need to take enough control and think, okay, I kind of need them out of frame coming in. I kind of need them going out of frame. I need them crossing my path from one side to the other. And I'll get to it in a little bit, but...
At first, prepare to be amazed. So first I went out and looked for any ostriches that were around. 215.2 grams. An egg this size is unprecedented. We have not yet found anything that is this big. For a chicken egg to weigh almost half a pound is amazing.
The little kid's smart. It's unprecedented.
Yeah, very smart kid. But so you have control of him, right? You go, okay, stop. Okay, open the refrigerator door. Now let me move in. Grab the bucket. Okay, now come out. Set it on the table. Now reach in. Have your mom reach in. You have control over him so that you can get the shots you need to make a sequence, and then you cut to his sound bite. He's talking about the egg. Maybe you leave it up for a little bit, and then he's talking about it. And then you cut back to him to get his kind of interesting, sort of a breathing. But the more you shoot, and the more kind of a sequence you have, the more freedom you have to play with it, to match whatever you have written. And so hopefully, eventually, you have this. You have your pictures, and then you have your whatever you write, and they meld together. They come together in a really nice way. But the pictures matter first. You get them first, and then you sort of mold your script to whatever you've shot. But if you shoot a sequence, then you have much more freedom to write what you want. Let's see here.
In the face of dwindling city budgets, that history nearly disappeared.
That's a sequence.
The city owns the museum, but can't afford to keep it open beyond this year, so change is imminent.
That's a nice little, it's an effect, but it's a sequence too. I mean, he's gotten a little creative there. That's the same museum story.
Is amazing.
In the face of dwindling city budgets, that history nearly disappeared. The city owns the museum, but can't afford to keep it open beyond this year, so change is imminent.
Well, that's kind of cool. He's just left that shot running for 10 minutes as people go through, and he hasn't moved it. So then he has one shot to dissolve to one shot, so the people sort of disappear into, and there's a sequence of shots there, but it's a boring museum story. So he's kind of there's some thinking there, like, oh, okay, I can talk about a subject here and illustrate it best with this kind of neat shot where I dissolve into one, from one thing into the other, and so
you do that with just a dissolve and keep it
right.
That's
Camera's
so cool.
totally steady for 10 minutes,
okay.
And then as people are walking through, he just makes it's probably about a 4 or 5 second dissolve from one thing to the other, so the people look like they're disappearing. It's Bewitched used to do it all the time.
Room, the same room, but the camera did not move.
Yeah.
Then you still got people walking in. You can use that shot where nobody's in the room.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you dissolve from that, and then they look like they disappear.
Yeah, it's a good little effect.
I use that for Halloween for the ghost story.
Yeah, people.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my. This is what I call it. Coming into frame, going out of frame, coming across your frame. Shoot where it ain't. In other words, your subject is not always in your picture every single shot, because there's only certain. You have a limited amount of freedom. If he's in every shot at the computer writing, that's one thing. But then how do you move to an interview? Either your interview is with him at the computer, which is a nice idea, or you have a shot where there's a cutaway or something, so you can move to an interview. So you shoot where it ain't.
There we go, Maggie. A healthy, happy dog getting a checkup. And her vet, Dr. John Sudduth, is adamant that one of the most important things for pet...
Well, he doesn't have control there. He's got lifting the dog onto the table. He could have backed up and maybe it would have cut. He's getting a wide shot. but it's kind of a cheap. It's a little bit cheap. He just kind of started where they weren't and moved this way. I mean, it's an easy way around it. Sometimes when you don't have control over something, you can and they're not moving. You can kind of move and put them in. I mean, it's a little bit cheap, but here it works. He's starting out, and then okay, now he's moved to the wide shot, but they were out of frame and they moved in. Not bad, especially if you don't have the control you'd like to get.
Right now is making sure they have up-to-date rabies shots.
I don't think it's going to be a place where you want your kids running around as much.
Terry says she'll keep doing her.
Okay, there's a little. She's moving across the frame there. You had her on interview. She had a nice interview shot with her. Now she kind of started. She started a little bit.
Up-to-date rabies shots.
I don't think it's going to be a place where you want your kids running around as much.
Terry says she'll keep doing her part.
Not enough to be jarring. I mean, I don't feel like, okay, oh wow, she suddenly moved in time and space and broken all the laws of physics. She's come into frame, and I think the eye accepts that a lot better than something just bam, she's suddenly there. And that's a shot she set up. I want to get a low angle start over here. Okay, I'm ready, go. Come across.
Probably a good idea.
Okay, here's a quick primer.
Okay, he moves in. There's a wide shot, and then the rock moves into the frame.
Curling just to get you started.
So want me to throw?
You'll need a stone.
Hand moves into the picture.
Throwing.
You basically slide out and let the stone go.
A broom for sweeping.
Little cutaway.
To see how it smooths the ice out for a sec.
One slippery shoe.
That I have stainless steel and Teflon.
And something called a hack to push off.
You kick off from the hack.
Your target is a circle 164 feet down the ice.
Screen direction is pretty consistent. He's moving left to right. Then I messed it up.
The idea is to get closer.
What happens? I got a little bit of a screen direction problem there. The rock is suddenly moving the opposite direction. It's not a huge deal. I used it, but it's not. It would have been so much nicer to have the rock coming in from the left and knocking. And I probably had that. I just couldn't find it, and I was in a hurry.